reaching a ceasefire in Russia's war in Ukraine are underway in Saudi Arabia. Representatives from the United States and Russia are in Riyadh for the negotiations. The Kremlin says there is an understanding with the US that the war needs to end, but there are many aspects to be worked out.
Putin's got a huge respect for the president. And, you saw what happened in the Oval Office with Zelensky and the president, right?
Yes.
I mean, just like disrespecting him is not a healthy way.
The arrogance of small countries, it's like, get some perspective. I mean, come on. How can you imagine acting like that?
Trump just announced that Easter Sunday is the deadline for ending the Ukraine war. Yes, you heard that right. The guy who can't even organize a peaceful family dinner thinks he can solve a global conflict by a specific date. Meanwhile, the Kremlin is checking their calendars like, did we agree to this? Putin's spokesperson basically said, "That's nice, Donald," while Ukrainian President Zelensky is probably practicing his eye rolling in the mirror.
That we're going to want everybody to be, in some respect, satisfied. So we're going to want the Russians to be satisfied in some respect. We're going to want the Ukrainians. And I think that's, but look, that's been corrected, and that's a really good thing. It got corrected, and
yes,
hopefully we'll chalk it up to a misunderstanding, and we'll get to a peaceful.
Stick around to see how this ridiculous peace plan is unfolding. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Can you imagine Trump in a situation room wearing bunny ears while planning world peace? Well, that's basically what's happening right now. The former president has declared April 20th, Easter Sunday, as his magical deadline for ending a war that's been raging for over 2 years. Because nothing says peace on earth like picking an arbitrary religious holiday to solve an international crisis. Meanwhile, his self-appointed Russian envoy, Steve Witkoff, is jet-setting around Saudi Arabia, making grand proclamations about Putin's desire for peace. Witkoff went on Fox News telling everyone that Putin wants peace, which is super convincing coming from the guy whose military hasn't stopped bombing Ukrainian cities for a single day. It's like hearing Hannibal Lecter say he's really into veganism now.
Despite the talks, Russia and Ukraine continue to trade drone attacks over the weekend. And Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky says Ukraine remains open to a ceasefire, but says those efforts are being blocked by Russia.
To be satisfied in some respect, we're talking to the Europeans. When I say satisfied, feeling that we came out of this thing, okay, with a deal that everybody can live with.
The comedy gets even better when you learn that this whole ceasefire plan reportedly began with a casual phone call between Trump and Putin, two men known worldwide for their honesty, transparency, and unwavering commitment to peace. What could possibly go wrong? I'm sure they solved everything between Putin's shirtless horse riding stories and Trump's golf handicap updates.
After the last meeting in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, it has become absolutely clear to the entire world. Russia is the only one dragging this war out. The more pressure on Russia to stop this terror. And that depends on all our partners, the US, Europe, and others around the world. Only one that brought it here, and the only one who needs it to continue. Since March 11th, a proposal for an unconditional ceasefire has been on the table.
Trump's team is already practicing their Nobel Peace Prize acceptance speeches, with Witkoff bragging to Fox News about the real progress they're making, particularly regarding a Black Sea shipping ceasefire. They're celebrating as if world peace has been achieved by simply circling a date on the calendar. It's like declaring you've lost 50 pounds just because you bookmarked a gym's website. Let's not forget, this is the same Trump who couldn't negotiate peace between his Twitter fingers and the spell check function, but sure, he'll solve an international war by Easter. The same guy who couldn't get Mexico to pay for a wall is now convincing Russia to stop a profitable war. Makes total sense.
And these attacks could have already stopped. But it is Russia that continues all this.
The whole plan has all the strategic depth of a kiddie pool and about the same chance of holding water. From what we can gather, Trump's sophisticated diplomatic strategy consists of 1. Call Putin for a friendly chat, 2. Pick a random holiday, and 3. Declare mission accomplished. While the confetti is still falling, international diplomacy has never been so simple. Trump's diplomatic kiddie pool just met the iceberg that is Putin's actual response. Remember those successful phone calls Trump's team has been bragging about? Turns out the Kremlin has a completely different interpretation of those conversations, and their version doesn't include any Easter bunnies or ceasefire deadlines. While Trump is busy ordering his Nobel Peace Prize trophy case, Putin's spokesperson Dmitry Peskov is essentially treating Trump's peace plan like that drunk text you pretend never arrived. The Kremlin has zero interest in acknowledging Trump's Easter timeline, instead choosing to blame Ukraine for continuing attacks on Russian infrastructure. That's right, while Trump is telling everyone the war is practically over, Russia is busy explaining why they need to keep bombing stuff. Awkward. The diplomatic theater gets even more absurd when you realize Trump is strutting around like the peacemaker in chief while Peskov is playing the "it's not me, it's them" card. When asked about Ukraine supposedly violating this magical agreement that Russia never actually agreed to, Peskov calmly suggested this could prompt absolutely another phone call between the two presidents. Nothing says successful peace negotiation like needing to make more phone calls, because the first ones didn't actually work. But wait, it gets better. Peskov cryptically hinted there might be more undisclosed calls between Trump and Putin that nobody knows about. We can't rule out everything else, he teased, like he's talking about secret teen romance calls rather than negotiations to end a bloody war. Because when you're trying to bring peace to a region, the best approach is definitely to have mysterious, undocumented conversations with a dictator. What's Putin's actual strategy here? It's masterful in its simplicity. Nod politely at Trump's peace fantasies while continuing to do exactly what Russia wants. When pressed about the Easter deadline, Peskov basically gave the diplomatic equivalent of "that's nice, sweetie," while reserving Russia's right to keep bombing whatever they want. The most telling part is how Peskov casually suggested that the most recent Trump-Putin call could be a step toward an in-person meeting. You can almost hear Putin thinking, if this orange buffoon wants to believe he's ending a war with a phone call, why not let him? Maybe he'll even give us something in return for pretending to listen. So how's the Ukrainian side taking Trump's magical Easter peace plan? Well, President Zelensky's response basically translates to, "Thanks for the chat, but I'll believe it when I see it." He's called the conversation quite useful, and diplomats speak for "I listened politely," while making it clear that Putin actually needs to give a real order to stop the strikes. You know, minor details like actually stopping the bombs. This whole fiasco perfectly captures Trump's approach to world affairs, treating international diplomacy like he's producing the season finale of The Apprentice War Edition. Just announce a random date, make a dramatic declaration, and expect everyone to play along with your script. Problem solved! Meanwhile, back in reality, Zelensky's measured response exposes the hollow core of Trump's peace theater. As Ukrainian cities continue facing Russian attacks, Trump's Easter deadline looks about as substantial as a chocolate bunny, all show on the outside, completely hollow within.